Serious, what new jobs industries can we create to work from home and keep the economy stimulated during these difficult times? I was actually thinking that this would be the perfect time to really crank out those highway repairs improvements. No more working at night for 3 hours at a time. No one is on the roads. Just do it now. Obviously take medical precautions, but it would probably be less dangerous than your standard grocery store employee. This is exactly how the depression economy got jump-started again. Massive multi-year public works projects like the highway system and hydroelectric dams. Having the roads at lower capacity would indeed reduce the cost. Most office jobs these days, we sit at our desks in our cubicles just so our supervisor or manager can watch over our shoulder. These jobs could easily be done at home, and employees should be judged on their output and or quality of work rather than the number of hours physically sitting in a specific place. Government jobs included, it would save taxpayer money on needing the physical space, not to mention less car traffic, less pollution. Issue is, it would also reveal certain employees' lack of quality output. Urban technologies that would make growing and cultivating food easier even in small spaces in city, the Martian style. I think there's opportunities for people to tutor people's kids remotely since the schools are shut. The kids can learn remotely but are missing that person who can help when they get stuck. I think, someone correct me if I'm wrong, there's an opportunity for someone that can make a company that finds knowledgeable people, vets them and makes them available for students when needed. Now not all parents will be able to afford this, but I think many would consider this worth it, especially if they themselves are working from home and it stops the kids distracting them for help. How about home health telemonitoring as a first response for the frail and the elderly? A video checkup on a regular schedule. Miss the checkup, the police make a wellness check. If the caretaker, probably a CNA, hears something in the video checkup, the patient would be encouraged to seek further attention. A few simple tools could be present in the home to allow the patient or a caretaker to do simple measurements like blood pressure, blood sugar and heart rate. Diabetics who stop monitoring and or don't log in their blood sugar on cue would also get a wellness check. In this way, people are less likely to slip through the cracks in an emergency. I was thinking of one. Perhaps something that shows you which grocery stores currently have a higher load of traffic customers. This way we can avoid each other, spread out our shopping to other stores. Not sure if Google has an API to allow for use of total cell phone traffic in an area. Google does actually do this where I live, UK, North. You can search for a business and it will show you a graph of how busy it usually gets at various times of the day, then compares it to how busy it actually is at that point. It's really useful. I hate busy places and have managed to avoid unexpected rushes a few times in the past. Gov should allow digital notary authentication services. Attorney here, and absolutely no reason legal services can't be digital. There are privacy, disclosure, and privilege risks whether live or digital. Let's stop wasting trees and sprawling office space for egos. I have a feeling if the NIT bill goes through, this would no longer be the case, making live copies more secure. Natural resource professional here. I've been beating the drum for years that we would benefit from a massive CCC-style mobilization to combat ecological issues like biodiversity collapse and invasive species management. Totally spitballing here, but you could train people online to identify and treat invasive species, then give them the tools to go out and do the actual labor. GIS technology would allow people to track and assign work areas remotely. Many organizations already do this, in addition to more robust species inventory and population counts. Basically, pay people to go do work by themselves on applicable public and private lands. Is it a bad idea? Maybe. Am I day drinking? Sure. Who isn't? Getting paid to do solitary, honorable work in nature sounds like a treat, and I'll be joining you in day drinking shortly. Refurbishing old stuff. I know my stainless steel copper iron cookware needs a hard resurfacing and coating, but I own none of the stuff necessary to make it an easy job. Maybe also wetland restoration and killing invasive species. I know tons of kids that would love to spend it outside shooting snakes or catching Asian carp. The kinds of snakes that are classified as invasive aren't the kind you send your kids after unless you don't want your kids. Grocery drop-off is great, but I would expand it. Dinner drop-off. Local restaurants should do packaged dinner options that you can pick up. I know some already do, but more would be great. Home stores need a Victory Garden drop, soil, seeds, netting, straw, the essentials grocery box, bread, butter, milk, eggs. I am not used to shopping every 2 weeks, so having an essentials box I could get to drive up would be nice. Neighborhood library cases. I would love to share books and puzzles with my neighbors, but don't really want to wait around for them. It would be great if there was a waterproof library nook we could put in the cul-de-sac island. I really wish retail salesmen like me could become digital helpers for customers through the company instead of being let go. I was laid off. This is my last working weekend. My job was an experience consultant for a mobile company. I held workshops and one-on-one sessions with lots of clients free of cost to the customer. I helped with new device setups and transfers. There are a lot of people in my area that don't know much about cell phones or how to use them, so I actually stayed pretty busy helping customers all day answering basic things. Mostly older folks, but even a lot of younger folks have no clue sometimes. So I wish I could still offer help to them, but over video conferencing or something and still be employed by my employer. I see a need for virtual assistants becoming a thing for more people until things are looking up. You should do a YouTube channel for this. You can have them contact you for one-on-one help and make money that way. People still need help and you can help them, even without your employer. Could maybe come up with some way to have virtual parties or a virtual bar. Figure out how make it seem like you're all together having a good time. Maybe some kind of Roku app that could split the screen up. Maybe VR goggles will make that possible. Ready Player One movie seems more realistic now. Basically all office work should be work from home. With all the technology and software at our disposal, there's almost no excuse to have a bunch of people sitting in a giant office space doing work that could easily be done from home. Heck, think of the positive effects that would have on the environment. How many people spend hours per week commuting back and forth to some office job? Think of how much traffic would be eliminated. Not to mention the carbon footprint of THR typical office building. Work from home should become the norm. Where zoning allows, raise chickens, not roosters, and sell fresh eggs to your neighbors, friends, and others that respond to ads. A neighbor started raising hens about 2 years ago and is doing a lively business distributing fresh eggs locally. They can be left on people's doorsteps in a designated egg container, similar to the milkman's box. No face-to-face exchange required. I like the idea a lot, but before starting this, you have to check local and state regulations as well as FDA requirements to produce and sell any food. Licenses and inspections may apply. Food trucks are big in my area, but they usually congregate on high traffic areas that are currently desolate. What if, instead, they throw a speaker on the roof, come up with a catchy jingle, and drive through neighborhoods like an adult ice cream truck, but with booze and food? Taco truck coming through the neighborhood blasting mariachi music? Yes, please. They should take lunch and dinner orders electronically, prep it all, and the second half of their day is spent delivering it. Some local actors at mine create to be continued series, which they actually continue, from day-to-day activities all on their own to keep us entertained. It actually makes one feel as if they are outside for real. The actors do all that in their own apartment. It's quite nice seeing how they make an effort to still work their job and help others feel better. I work at a school as a teacher aide, so I'm getting paid to, in a way, to not do anything. I just check my email, read updates, and then read manga and watch YouTube the rest of the day. I decided now would be a good time to start my dream job of being a voice actress. I'm starting as a narrator for books that are now in public domain. Last night, I finished the first chapter of The Jungle Book by Rudyard Kipling. Now, where can I upload it so I can be recognized and start getting paid? I forget the name, but Amazon has a program for narrators. Also, Fiverr. Virtual cooking classes. A lot of people are being forced to cook dinner for themselves for the first time in their lives. If you have no training, it's an intimidating first experience. Even basic things like, are you peeling the garlic correctly? How can you tell when the steak's done? The recipe says 10 minutes, But how much leeway is there? You could an expert on a Zoom conference who could answer quick questions and check your technique. There's lots of experienced restaurant workers out of a job right now. The chef could put 8-10 people in a virtual room and rotate around answering questions. It'd also be a social experience between the participants. Or you can watch a 5-minute YouTube video and be good to go. Not being a douche, but it's hard to start a business that YouTube makes free. One of the good things to come out of all this mess right now is that artists and musicians will have a lot more time to create. If you've ever had an idea for a shirt or card, now is the time to make that happen. Screen printers need the work right now. Support your local artist. Most have online shops, and heck, even Bandcamp is giving 100% off sales today, 3/20 straight to the musicians. Basically, you're going to have to start in your community. Help each other out. Wouldn't hurt if they forgave taxes this year either. I am an artist, and whereas I may have more time to create, if people are strapped and worried, they won't buy your stuff as they have no disposable income. So this is a good time to create, but no one will buy it. Humans who browse, check, and report any fake accounts or misinformation that they see on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and any other social media information platform. We might as well be productive and get paid while mindlessly browsing them. I report misinformation all the time and it's never taken care of. A whole new community of sleuths. Simple. You apply and get a background check and then receive a cold case. You now help in investigating cold cases from your home. Even just data entry for the existing sleuths. One of the things holding a lot of investigations back is how not everything gets entered into existing databases, because detectives are busy, or in the case of older cold cases, just never got put in before the evidence was stuffed in a basement, and that these databases aren't as linked as they could be. I think it's going to be interesting to see how many businesses realize that many employees, and in some cases entire offices, can work remotely. It may really cause some companies to transition to a full-time work from home model to save costs on office space. It's not exactly a new job or a new industry, but becoming a caregiver to a sick, elderly or disabled family member or individual isn't exceptionally hard to do. For example, you would have to take care of a person's home, cook meals for them, give them medicine, or if they're capable, gently remind them to take their medicine, provide companionship, etc. I'm not sure if the programs are still accepting people, but I know that a bunch of places in the past advertised where you can sign up to be a caregiver to someone for his company, or you can ask if it's doable through the individual's or family member's insurance. Yeah, this is a big one. But we need to rapidly expand this industry and make new regulations to ensure safety. I don't know about industries, but I won't be surprised if I hear something about how schools are integrating VR. Students can learn remotely in a classroom setting and can see and have tangible feedback in real time from a teacher, which then in turn could also open up the possibility of completely VR classes, and teachers could work from anywhere. I think the longer we stay home, the more online jobs will pop up. Creative ones like online art, as well as more serious ones like programming. Probably, but that's why we're here, to try and think up those jobs. Frankly, it would be great if there was a normal way to get remote job anywhere. Right now we either have jobs that still require you to be from the same country, city, that is, it's essentially perk for a normal work arrangement, or there are freelancer sites for one-off jobs that mostly seem to put people looking for a job at a disadvantage. High competition, shitty pay, no guarantees to get paid. That's fun way to get beer money, not work. I am an online teacher with a company called VipKid. It's teaching English online to children in China. You don't need any special qualifications except a bachelor's degree in any major, and the pay is $16 to $22 an hour. Seriously, if anyone needs some info, I'd be super happy to help. It's been my main source of income for almost 2 years, and it's been a lifesaver. I think a service that provides a person that will read to children and those with vision problems would be great. I know there are books on tape and things like Audible, but during a story kids like to interrupt with questions, and having a person familiar enough with the book to answer those questions might be helpful, and knowing another person has lived with you can comfort someone, especially someone with vision issues that might be feeling alone. I'm a Fortnite coach and it actually pays much better than any job I've had. It helped my pool my tuition last semester in full. I also think home chefs are going to become a lot more popular. If you can't go out to eat or know how to make something, call up one of these guys and they'll buy cook clean for you. Home cooking classes could also be a thing. Have a hankering for actual Chinese food or traditional Czech dumplings? An actual mainlander could come to your home. Bonus if it and sweet old lady type and make it happen. The Ethiopian family next door to me makes the best food and I'm sad that nobody else gets to experience it. That would have to be ridiculously expensive for it to be viable, unless they're cooking and prepping every meal for an entire week. This would only be for very well off or ultra rich. There really aren't many that don't require at least a 4-year education. If working from home was viable enough for everyone, we'd be doing it. Working from home kicks butt. An engineer can on CAD, an accountant can still do their work from home. But I'm an environmental analyst for the government and I need a laboratory. They just sent me home and told me to work from home. What am I supposed to do without my lab? There are a lot of people in similar situations. I could do consulting work, but who's going to hire me when the HEC and the EPA are also busy with coronavirus stuff? So I'm left with the traditional online job options as everyone else, which is basically nothing. I feel you. I work in a sign shop. Sure, I can do graphic design stuff at home, but someone has to be on location to run the printers and create the signs. Then someone needs to go to the client's location and install the sign. Not all jobs can be done while working at home. E-learning is a huge market that is not tapped into very much yet. Online learning from a private corporation, instead of a college or private school program, would allow much more flexibility for students and would also cut down the costs of school programs, lowers non-profit margin costs, increases economic flexibility, provides a free market option. Unfortunately, the reality of this doesn't pan out so well. I was a classroom teacher for 3 years. Saw plenty FL virtual school dropouts back at their desks. There should be a way for an elderly person to reach out to talk to someone when they get lonely. I would adopt a grandma or grandpa just to talk to them if it existed. Hear me out. Miniature novels. This would be things like sketches and short stories for people to read for like $0.50 each read. Have a minimum length and have people be able to gain notoriety. This would likely have to be done on an online basis, so that's a bit of website design and coding that can be done as well. They already exist, called short fiction or cigarette fiction, cause you can finish it by the end of a cigarette. We desperately need scientific educators. That is, people who have done rigorous science themselves and then decided to focus on educating instead. The problem with people that do rigorous science is that they don't always turn out to be good teachers. Sometimes they are god awful at it. Hey hun, if you want to work from home and make insert an realistic applying figure a month, message Emmy and I will let you in on a fantastic new business opportunity with new MLM scheme name. Insert 20 random emoji. We are selling insert example snake oil product which will absolutely CHSNGE your life. Vomit emoji before sending. I always wanted to publish a book entitled something like How to Make a Ton of Money, Sell It Online, and pretty much have all the pages blank except the first one that says Sell People books entitled How to Make a Ton of Money. If you own a piece of land you could start an orchard. Sure, it's gonna cost you your lawn, and I have no idea if you're actually allowed, but 100 years ago the families around where I live, Sweden, all had like 30 or 40 apples trees in their gardens on plots of about 1000 square m. Some sort of online compassion care, like the Caregiver sites, but more personalized one-on-one connections and no nudity. More like allowing people who feel alone to connect with each other and talk or read stories together or just hang out in the presence of another person. This attracts too many creeps, frankly. Buy original art. I'm on disability for PTSD. I'm a good artist, but there's no way I could make a living at it. Everyone spends $20 on a print from China at Hobby Lobby instead of spending $50 on an original piece by an actual human being. If consumers were willing to spend more money on handmade art, it would help support actual people instead of Chinese sweatshops and cheap materials. I think instead we should be looking at some form of guaranteed basic income. We cannot just let people languish in poverty for 3-4 months, maybe more. Anybody who is out of work due to this virus should receive a certain amount of money. I already, after less than a week of social isolation, see a huge need for much smoother communication platforms. Something that makes you feel like you're in a room together and can casually converse rather than the awkward video conferencing calls. What's the address? Is it in the mail? Oh, it's in WhatsApp. But my phone is almost dead. How do I get the link to my computer? Hey, can you hear me? Who is here? Is my sound on? How do I allow my browser to use my camera etc? We need more mobile tech helpers who can diagnose and fix hardware issues, Wi-Fi problems, etc. It would also be helpful to develop local networks for Wi-Fi, scanning and printing because it can be expensive for every individual to have all the necessary equipment to work out of one's home. Game development, podcasts, writing, and any other kind of media entertainment that doesn't require a production crew. We could seriously create a billion-dollar self-sustainable creative industry outside the guise of large corporate media and game publishing entities. Software sales. Lots of startups have a software that needs clients to get better. If you're talented at sales and can understand basic computer functions, get into software sales. I vote we have this discussion after we send money to people. I currently make money from YouTube video games. We cannot live in a society where only the charismatic eat. Even before the quarantine, I'd be willing to pay someone to talk to me sometimes just to listen to me for a bit. Reading that back, it sounds like I want a therapist. If you are new to the channel, you can subscribe. I publish new videos every day. Until then, check another video. Bye for now.